I am talking today about a few of my favorite animals that are all in some way unique. I'll start with seahorses, which is the name given to 54 species of marine fishes. Having a head and neck suggestive of a horse, seahorses also feature segmented bony armor, an upright posture, and a curled tail. They vary in size from 1 inch to almost a foot long, and they swim upright. They feed by sucking prey through the tubular snout on the head. Males and females look alike, but the male seahorse is equipped with a brood pouch on the front-facing side of the tail. When mating, the female seahorse deposits up to 1,500 very small eggs in the male's pouch. Depending on the species, the male carries the eggs for 9 to 45 days when the seahorses emerge small but fully developed. Males give birth to from 10 to 200 young, depending on the species. Before breeding, seahorses may court for several days. During the time the eggs are inside of him, the female will come check on him daily. The young are usually born at night. The young seahorses have to care for themselves when they are born. Less than 1% of them live long enough to become mature enough to mate themselves. Those that do live to the age of maturity have an average lifespan that covers from 4 to 6 years. The Echidura, or spoonworms, are a small group of marine worms. Most live in burrows in the muddy seabed. They have a large scoop-shaped proboscis in front of the mouth that cannot be retracted into the body. It is used for feeding, and if attacked, the proboscis can break off and regenerate. Today, I'm particularly talking about one species, Bonellia viridis. Bonellia has the remarkable properties of bonolin, the green chemical in its skin. This species is unusual for the extreme sexual difference between males and females. Females are typically 3 inches long, while males are only about 0.08 of an inch long and spend their lives within the uterus of the female. The green female lives in seafloor burrows. The male is rarely observed. Swimming larvae fertilized by the male inside the female are released into the water column. The larvae are initially sexually undifferentiated. Larvae that land on unoccupied seafloor mature into adult females. Larvae that come in contact with the bonolin in the skin of the adult female become masculinized. These larvae develop into tiny males which cling to the female's body or are sucked inside by the feeding tube to spend the rest of their lives inside her genital sac, producing sperm to fertilize her eggs and reliant on her for all other needs. Barnacles are found where hard surfaces meet seawater, on rocks, boats, pilings, animals. They are relatives of shrimp and lobsters. Most feed on small algae in the water, and they live continually in their shells. They reach into the water column with modified legs to draw plankton and detritus into the shell for food. Since the intertidal zone periodically dries, barnacles are well adapted against water loss. Their calcite shells are impermeable, and they possess 2 plates which they can slide across the apertures when not feeding. These plates also protect against predation. Barnacles are stationary and attached, so they cannot go find a mate. They are hermaphrodites, that is, both male and female at the same time, but they do not self-fertilize. To reproduce, they must mate with their neighbor. To do this, they need a strong, stretchable penis. A barnacle's penis reaches to another adjacent barnacle and fertilizes it. A penis can stretch up to 8 times a barnacle's own body length, making it proportionally the largest penis in the animal world. After mating, the penis is shed and a new one developed for the next season. After fertilization, the larvae stay with the mother until there is enough plankton in the spring for them to feed in the water. Crepidula fornicata, the slipper limpet, is a type of snail found in bays and estuaries. They are commonly found in curved chains of up to 12 animals. Large shells are found in the bottom of the chain, with the shells becoming progressively smaller towards the top. Stacks of adult live attached to the substrate and are incapable of moving. The shell is up to 2 inches in length. The large opening has a shelf extending half its length. Slipper limpets start their lives as males and then subsequently may develop into females. The females on the bottom of the chain, females release a hormone that keeps the males on top of her male. When she dies, the next one near the bottom becomes female. Peak breeding occurs in May and June when most females spawn. Females brood eggs that are fertilized by the males above her, and incubation of the eggs takes 2 to 4 weeks. She then releases the eggs as swimming larvae in the water column. When they settle, the spats settle in isolation or on top of the established chain of Crepidula fluoricata. If a larva lands on a plain substrate, it is male for a while and then turns into a female. If a larva lands on other Crepidula, then it stays as a male due to the hormone released by the female. Florida manatees, which are mammals, are graceful swimmers in coastal waters and rivers. They power themselves with their strong tails. They are found primarily along the coast of Florida, the Gulf Coast, and the Caribbean. Manatees are not sexually mature until they are about 5 years old. Male manatees assume no responsibility for raising the calf. Mothers nurse their young for 1 to 2 years, so a calf may remain dependent on its mother during that time. Calves nurse underwater from tits located behind the mother's slippers and begin to eat plants a few weeks after birth. Manatees are born underwater, and mothers must help their calves to the surface so they can take their first breath. But the infants are typically swim on their own by an hour later. Manatees do not form permanent pair bonds. When a female manatee goes into estrus, she is soon detected and pursued by numerous male manatees. During that time, the female can mate with one or more males in what is known as a mating herd. That's why scientists generally don't know who the father of a calf is. A mating herd is a sort of a free-for-all. The effect can be quite dramatic with churning waters and flailing flukes and flippers. The female is usually in the center, and the males take turns mating with her.